Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Planet X News. It is January 25th, 2000. Oops, wait a minute. Is it 2020? Yes, it is. Hey, listen, folks. Real quick, I want to give everybody a quick heads up. If you are sharing information on social media, such as Twitter and Facebook, and also YouTube, that has to do with this outbreak of this virus over in China, now spreading throughout the world. Be very, very careful about the information that you're sharing. Already this morning, I noticed that a lot of people on Facebook are complaining that articles that they're sharing are being removed by Facebook, and Facebook's fact checker is labeling a lot of the news stories, from different personal websites that people have. They're deeming all of it fake news. There was one individual that shared an article in the Planet X News group, maybe about an hour or so ago, and the Facebook snowflake fact checkers, man, they were on it like white on rice, because the article was claiming 23 million people have been infected by that virus. So let me give you the skinny on what's happening. We don't really know. We don't really know what is happening. Now, over the last 48 hours, I've noticed a lot of information is getting out of China via Twitter, and a lot of people in South America and Mexico, for some reason, they are able to see these tweets from China, and then they are sharing them and retweeting them on Twitter, and also uploading a lot of information onto Facebook and YouTube. Now, I did find out yesterday that a lot of videos that people are creating and uploading to YouTube, they're getting community guideline strikes. The videos are being taken down. I don't know the exact reasons. Probably because of graphic content. I've had access to a lot of information coming out of China over the course of the last 2 days. I haven't shown much of it on my Facebook pages because I don't need any more trouble with Facebook, as I already have now. Same thing goes with YouTube. I have written 2 articles up today. You guys should definitely check them out. They are both available on the planetxnews.org website. I have shared them on my personal pages, the Planet X News Facebook page, the group page. So check them out and read them. There is some video information within the articles that you guys can watch. Hint, hint. Do you get my hint? All right. So, this virus is making its way around the world, and look, it's going to do so, folks. I don't even know what to think about it, to tell you the truth. I've been talking to a lot of friends of mine that work in the public. I have friends of mine that work in restaurants, in banks. I told you about the one friend of mine that works in a Planet Fitness gymnasium. And just being out in general public, I don't know. I mean, I'm not going anywhere. I could tell you that much. I'm avoiding crowds. If I have to go out and I have to touch something, I already have latex gloves that I'm going to use, and I don't care what people think. Some of the information that I did see coming out of China directly from hospitals, where hospital workers are getting very upset, very scared, very mad, very frantic, because people are literally dropping dead on the streets. And then early this morning, I got an update on a doctor that passed away. They said that he had contracted the virus 9 days ago. I don't know how much truth there is to that, but he was 62 years old. He was in perfect health, and it took him out. Very, very sad. I think here in the United States and abroad, protecting yourself and protecting your children and the elderly. So there arises a big problem because your kids have to go to school. They get on school buses. They're in a tight, closed environment. You got children going to daycares. And for all of you that have raised kids and you sent them to daycare, no matter how much you try to keep the daycare clean, you still have irresponsible, idiotic, stupid parents that send their sick children to the daycare to infect the rest of those children. So, if you have a sick child, do not take chances. Take the child to the emergency room. Don't fiddle-faddle around with your pediatrician and waiting for an appointment. Take the child to the emergency room. Keep your hands clean. Don't touch your face. Don't touch your mouth. Be vigilant. Pay attention to your surroundings. If you do not have to be in crowded environments, then don't go. I had a brief conversation with a friend of mine late last night, and she's a bartender. And there was a guy in the bar last night that was coughing and hacking all over the place. Now, she has 2 small children. She got so upset with this guy, she wanted him to leave. And, he had some drinks in him already, and he said, "I'm not leaving. I didn't do anything wrong." And she said, "Well, obviously you're sick, and I don't want you to get me sick and everybody else in here sick." Well, the guy didn't want to leave. He felt that he didn't do anything wrong. She called the police, and, based on her just saying, "Look, the guy's a nuisance. We want him to leave." And the police threw him out. Then I spoke with another friend of mine this morning. He was at a local McDonald's at 6:30 this morning, grabbing some quick breakfast before he headed out to work. While he was standing in line, he could partially see and hear somebody in the back of the kitchen coughing and hacking. And then he said he saw the employee step out from behind the stainless steel display. It was a younger guy, probably an older teenager, 18, 19 years old. He did have gloves on, to food prepping plastic gloves. But then he saw the kid go like this with his nose across his arm and sleeve and across the back of his hand. He got so upset about what he saw that he called the manager over and he said, listen, this is what I just saw. Is your employee sick? And the manager kind of caught a little bit of an attitude with him, and he said, well, I don't know. Well, what do you mean you don't know? Don't you pay attention to your employees? You know, you run a restaurant. This is supposed to be a clean, healthy environment. And if you have somebody in the kitchen prepping food and they're coughing, sneezing, hacking, and wiping their snot on their sleeve and across the back of their hand, and they're making my food, well, I got a big problem with that. And then he said, you know what, man? Cancel my order. Give me my money back. I'm out of here. So, not everybody is as smart and alert as we are. We still have billions of people on this planet that are asleep and they don't know any better. So, I don't really know what to make of this, folks. I mean, we have the outbreaks of the flu and, influenza every single year. It seems to get worse every single year. And some of the rumors, let's just get to the rumor mill. A lot of the rumors that, I see, and they're all all coming from the conspiracy theorists. And look, I'm one too. Everything's a conspiracy. But you have to have facts. You can't have partial truths. So what I did notice is a lot of people on YouTube and Facebook already spreading the rumors that this is a way to depopulate the world. Labs have released this virus to wipe out millions of people and things of that nature. To be honest with you, hey, look, that can all be possible. Is it happening? None of us know that. None of us know that for a fact. So, if you happen to be one of those people that is sharing that type of information on social media, don't do it. Don't do it unless you yourself have the facts. And let's just put it this way. If you did have the facts that a government or multiple governments unleashed a pandemic virus around the world, I can guarantee you this, man. If you had that information and it was true, you wouldn't be alive to spread it around social media. They would whack your ass out as fast as you created that Facebook post. So I know a lot of people like to catch a lot of attention on Facebook and YouTube, and you want to get people riled up and you want to get them going, but you don't have the evidence, man. So don't be an asshole and spread fake news, because it is becoming a very, very big problem. When that happens, the social media giants, they see the problem and then they start whacking articles and videos and real news. They start eliminating it, terminating it, and banning people, suspending, Facebook pages and YouTube channels, and it just creates a big, gigantic freaking mess. So you're all grown adults. Let's try to verify the information. Let's try to get good information out there for everybody. And be very careful about the others that are sensationalizing what's happening. Just because some guy decides to make a cell phone video and tell you a story doesn't mean it's true. You understand what I'm saying? And even though he may be convincing and sound really truthful, he just may be some jerk off that wanted to do something like that. So, create fake news. I did notice one thing, that Facebook is allowing a lot to transpire on their platform. Usually when things like this happen, they start to shut things down. You know what I mean? They start to eliminate your reach, how many people can actually see your post. Twitter does the same thing. They all do it. But look, man, we're in the beginning stages of a nasty situation. A few years ago, I had a discussion with a friend of mine who is very into science and things of that nature. And we talked about viruses from space. He turned me on to the information and turned me on to a few abstracts and scientific articles that have been written about this. And a lot of people don't even know where viruses actually come from and how they spread and how they mutate. And I think it's a good idea at this particular time that each and every one of us, we try to educate ourselves on how this happens, why it happens, where does it come from. And the article that I wrote up just a few hours ago is called Viruses from Space. Each and every day, approximately 800 million viruses come from space. It's a fact. Tests have been done. The article that I wrote up, and I'll show you guys the article real quick. And it's right on the Planet X News website. I'll put the link in the live chat if you guys want to check it out or bookmark it later. Trillions of viruses fall from the sky each day, and most of them are from space. Now, this goes into some scientific information. I was able to obtain some really, really high resolution electron microscope photographs of what these viruses look like. And they do look like them little nanobots, don't they? They look pretty creepy. But without a host, a virus can't survive. And if any of you are familiar with the term panspermia is a hypothesis about things from space, meteors, comets, viruses, creating life on Earth. Now, you guys could look it up and maybe catch a video on it or a documentary, but it's pretty neat. These are actual photographs that I have in the article. These are all photographs of what a virus looks like. Some viruses, the majority of them, under electron microscopes, and it's pretty creepy. They're very creepy little critters. It tells you about what the viruses are and how they work. Goes into some history about viruses. And it's, viruses from space. Viruses that are literally hundreds of millions of them in the upper atmosphere. And one thing that I touched on, probably back in the summer, when all the permafrost was melting in in Alaska. And you're talking about permafrost that has been frozen for hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, maybe even 10,000s of years. Who knows? We don't really know what type of bacterias and viruses are dormant in that now thawed land. A few years ago in Siberia, I think it was 2 years ago, if I'm not mistaken, maybe a little longer, a large portion of Siberia melted. And animals like deer, and they were grazing in the newfound grass. All of a sudden, they all started dying. Well, the people wanted to use the meat, so they slaughtered what was left of the animals and ate it. Well, that frozen land in Siberia unleashed anthrax, and it killed the animals, and the people, they ate the infected meat and they died. So, that's really crazy, but it's actually true. Not everything is made in a lab. Not everything is completely one big fat conspiracy. Take a look at how many meteors are streaking past our planet each and every day. I mean, there was just one that was spotted, I believe it was over the UK 2 days ago. Spectacular photographs. Very, very close. If we could see it in our skies, then Lord only knows all of the little residue and particles that are falling off of it are falling ever so slowly into the upper atmosphere. Maybe they make their way through, and then they make their way all the way down to Earth. And then some animals eat it, and we eat the animals, and there you go. But a virus has to have a host. These viruses can also attach to plants that the animals eat. So you can see how that cycle begins. And it could be deadly. Very deadly. It seems that over courses of time, this has happened. I shared one article the other day. I believe it was 1720, 1820, 1920, and now 2020. Just about every 100 years, a very large virus outbreak occurs. So, it really does make you wonder, where is this coming from? Now, I've heard all kinds of rumors all over social media about the virus came from people eating bat soup, people eating snakes, people eating cats, people eating worms, and oh man, the rumors are just all over the place. But we don't really know. They're assuming that that this came from some kind of infected food in one of these Wuhan markets in Wuhan, China. I don't know exactly what they're doing, with the people. I've seen and heard all kinds of rumors. We just don't know if it's misinformation, disinformation. It's really, really hard to say. One thing I've been very surprised at is we really haven't seen that much detailed coverage on the mainstream media. You see a little report here, a little report there. That's about it. This was the article that I wrote up a few hours ago. This is the doctor that passed away, trying to help people out. There are videos embedded in this article. This is also a doctor. This guy right here. He is he's not a medical doctor. I forget what his title is. I think he's an epidemiologist, if I'm not mistaken. He was putting a warning out there for people to pay very close attention to their surroundings. And if you can, try to avoid, close-knit places, subways, buses, airplanes. I mean, let's face it, folks, just about everywhere you go, you may have a problem. People are collapsing everywhere. There's a video there. This is more from this Dr. Eric. I can't even pronounce his name. I'm not good in Mandarin or Chinese. I embedded the video that I did the other day to give everybody some additional information on how they could or should proceed with trying to protect yourself from this outbreak. There's a bunch of confirmed information in this article. Everything in my article is confirmed. It's not sensationalized. There's an updated map in here for the cases, but that is growing. That is growing like on an hourly basis. A lot of information here. Now, this was a video right here that I've embedded, and this was coming from a person who works in one of these hospitals, and yeah, you guys might want to just go ahead and watch that. That's all I'm going to say. Just go ahead and watch it. I'm trying to be a little careful about what I say here. And I think you all realize that about right now. So these viruses from space, very, very interesting. I'm sure if you mentioned that to anybody, they would probably think that you were a kook and you were crazy, but it is actually true. They've done some pretty sophisticated tests on actually gathering these viruses, and in one experiment, they gathered 800 million viruses in one day during one of these tests. But you could read about it in the article. Something else I wanted to touch on real quick, folks. We all know that we're getting towards the very end of the month. And if a lot of you haven't been paying attention to what I've been saying for the last couple of years and what I've been saying recently about this Planet X 28-day orbit, we're getting into that time where just over the last 72 hours, we've seen this uptick in seismic activity around the world. And not more than 24 hours ago, magnitude 6.7 crushed Turkey. So far, 22 people have passed away, thousands of people have been injured, and a lot of destruction, okay? A lot of buildings damaged. I wrote up another article, put a lot of detailed information into this article. I was waiting to get, information coming in from Twitter, from around the world. And the destruction's pretty bad. They took a really, really hard hit. You could see by some of the photographs here. And I've embedded a couple of videos from over in Turkey. You could watch the videos. They're all from YouTube. This one's from the Associated Press. And there's a third video here. And then here is a tweet with a video, and I believe this was either taken from a drone or a helicopter showing you the destruction. This is a video that somebody in their apartment in one of these buildings as the earthquake started to shake. And it did some very, very serious damage. There's another video from the earthquake embedded here. This one is from Facebook. This poor guy, he's in a, looks like a small pharmacy type store. And you could already see he's already crouched down, and the shaking was pretty violent. So check these articles out. And, you know, if you want to feel safe about sharing real information, you can gather all of it right here. I'll grab the link real quick for our website. I'll stick it in the live chat real quick. And, you know, you could share those articles, read those articles, bring yourself up to date on what's happening. Let's take a look real quick at the earthquake map, because now they're really starting to get active around the world. And if you just take a look here in the United States, once again back in Puerto Rico, it's getting very active. All across the world, it's starting to happen everywhere. And again, folks, you know, I keep reiterating and I keep telling people that once we get into about that last week of every month, you know, this is what we're in store for. The same thing happens when we get past, we get past the first week in the beginning of every month. Usually that starts to occur like around the 10th through the 17th. Then we have a small little lull period. And it's all coming together, you know. We have the coronal mass ejections. We are able to capture this object. We're able to see it. And speaking of seeing it, I want to show you guys, I've been waiting days now for some additional info to pop up. And let me just go ahead and make sure we got this going here. I don't know if any of you saw, I'm in the wrong file. This file's real big, so let me just take a minute here. You can see it's loading. Come on. Yeah. We'll bring up this photo. And this was zoomed in. Now, this was from the 19th when we had that coronal mass ejection. And it was kind of near the back, not really the back side of the sun, but off to the side. It wasn't Earth facing. And this was a new three-dimensional technique that I developed just a couple of days ago. And I put the two pictures together. One is zoomed in right here, and then this is the photograph. But you could see this object clear as day. Clear as day, right where it should be, right on time. And then what occurred? We had the coronal mass ejection, and then shortly after this, a few days later, as this object was looping back around the sun, and it's already coming back down, as soon as it started coming back down, bingo, here come all of the earthquakes, one after the other. Now, we will probably start to see some volcanic activity once again start to stir up. That could possibly happen at any time. Now, there were several big earthquakes in the Aleutian Islands off of the coast of Alaska the other day, right near a volcano. And if anything happens up there and that volcano has a full blast, that volcano is right in alignment with the jet stream, which means in a matter of hours, that volcanic blast would carry that material all the way to Canada and the Pacific Northwest of the United States. And it would all depend on the jet stream, but the way the jet stream's been acting, it would literally make its way around the world maybe in about 24 to 48 hours. And that would also depend on how high up the blast would be. But there was a pretty big earthquake up there. And again, I put all of this information on our my Facebook pages, Planet X News and the group. And it's all right there for you guys to access and share with everybody else. Now, the reason why I'm showing you this photograph again is because I was waiting for some more data to show up. And this is what I hate, man. This is what they do. This was captured on the 19th. Today is the 25th. So I've had to wait all of these days and to keep checking and keep checking and keep checking so I can get maybe another clearer photograph to prove my point. Well, about 4 o'clock this morning, that happened. So I'm going to go ahead and jump out of here real quick. Well, this is what the actual coronagraph photo looked like. Folks, and when you look at something like that, that's pretty undeniable. Somebody sent me an inbox message the other day, and they asked me if I can explain this anomaly to them. And I'm like, explain what anomaly? What you're looking at there is not an anomaly. An anomaly would be something that you can't explain. But that is something that we can explain. And I've been explaining it to everyone for many years now. Some people may believe me, some people may not. But you know what? All of the evidence, month after month after month after month, it is right on time. It keeps piling up. And sooner or later, you'll become a believer. No, it's not Nibiru. No, it's not Nemesis. This is, I even hate to use the word Planet X because it's really not a planet. We don't really know exactly what it is, but it does have the consistency of being a core to a burned out star. And I wish, I wish that NASA would just come out and make a damn statement on this. But I think that if they did publicly admit to this, this would probably seal their fate. Because then everybody would know, well, hell, you would have had to have known that was orbiting our sun. Why didn't you say something 10 years ago? Now, look at the condition and the situation that we're in now. Now they're trying to hide everything that's happening here on Earth. They're trying to hide it by calling it climate change. Yeah, there is climate change going on, but it just didn't happen just like that. It's not man-made. We know exactly what's happening. And, to be honest, it's going to get worse. Each year that goes by, folks, the world that you used to live in, that you remember from 10 years ago, doesn't exist anymore. And people better start waking up. They better start learning as much as they possibly can. Because there may come a day where the things that you've learned could possibly save your life. The life of your family, the life of your children, your loved ones. And I hate to put it that way, but that's just the way that it is, So I'm going to get to the newer photograph that really kicks it home. Like I said, I just got this one in a few hours ago. And, finally was able to get a nice, good, clear photograph. This is from the 19th. This was on the core too. Same thing. This was during that coronal mass ejection. And this is not our view from Earth. The Stereo Core 2 spacecraft is kind of off to the left of the Earth. So this is like a side view from the left-hand side looking at the sun. And this coronal mass ejection was not exactly behind the sun, not exactly to the left of the sun, kind of in between, right where it was supposed to be, right on time. So that 28-day orbital path was right on the money. And I produced this photograph in high definition, so it does not pixelate. And we're going to move over to this photograph. I blew it up. And I also put the high definition effects into this photograph. So now you guys can actually see. For the person that asked me to explain this anomaly, look, your glasses must be cracked and shattered if you refer to that as an anomaly. I mean, you must really be simple. That is no anomaly. Look at it. Look at it. That is pretty damn impressive, if you ask me. Let's zoom in on it, because I have it to the point where it will not pixelate. So let's just go ahead and see what we got here. You guys, look at that bad boy. Perfectly round. And you could see the backside of the coronal mass ejection. You could see the beautiful teardrop shape as that coronal mass ejection spread out right around it and literally encapsulated it. And this is what we see. And I'm pretty impressed with this photo. It was actually worth waiting almost 5 days. Pretty damn cool. So, I'll back this up a little bit. So, folks, if you still have people out there rambling on about this Nibiru and Nemesis and people taking these pictures, with cell phones and stuff like that, and claiming that, this is Planet X or this is Nibiru. Listen, I can't be everywhere confronting all of these people. you guys are going to have to do your part. If you're watching this YouTube channel, then you know better. All of you guys know better. That we are not going to see this object from Earth. It is physically impossible. We will not ever see it from Earth. This object's in a very, very tight, eccentric, and elliptical orbit around the sun. We're not going to see it. The sun's rays are too massive. We're just not going to see it. Now, if this object was maybe half the size of the sun, say this object was about, 400,000, 500,000 miles in diameter, about half the size of the sun. Then as it passed by the lower corner of the sun coming upward, we would probably see somewhat of an eclipse. We would definitely see a dimming of the sun. And that would depend on where we were in our orbit around the sun, meaning where the Earth's orbit was. But for a lot of these jokers that take these photographs and they spread them all over social media, they are doing a very, very, very big disservice to people that actually want to learn and want to understand things about this object. It is now part of our solar system, folks. It is part of our solar system. It's not a second sun because this object does not give off light. It does not shine like our star. And to be quite honest with you, our star, the sun, is a very small star. If you take a look at the size of other stars that are similar to our sun, it makes our sun look like a little dot. So there is so much that we do not know about space, and so much that we do not know about our own solar system, and the same can be said about our own planet. But it does upset me when people, just make these fake videos and they just try to sensationalize something that they absolutely know nothing about. I've spent probably close to half of my life tracking this damn thing down, and it's only been over the last several years that I've been able to make leaps and bounds with photographic evidence and proving to people that this is what is happening. What's happening to our planet, it's not this man-made climate change. We have a very, very serious interaction that's going on. I call it the threesome because it's a threesome, a three-way between the sun, that object, and our Earth. It's a battle between magnetic fields. And then you throw in the factor of the solar minimum, which will last approximately 11 years. We're only in the very, very beginning stages of it. So that X factor, that unknown, is what really, really worries me. There's not a scientist on this planet that could tell us what's going to happen, what to look forward to, because they don't know. Why? Because human beings on this planet have never, ever been faced with this type of situation in modern times. So I think that is another reason why mainstream science doesn't say anything. Mainstream astronomy doesn't say anything because they themselves wouldn't know what the hell this is. And they're sure as hell not going to give credit to somebody like me for discovering it and disclosing it. And I could give two shits about the credit. I'd like for anything for it to just disappear and go away But that's not going to happen. The sun's gravity has already captured it. It is here to stay. None of us will ever live long enough to see that exodus. Just not going to happen. There's a high possibility that thousands of years or tens of thousands of years or millions of years from now, this could cause so many problems with our sun that you wouldn't want to be on this planet. You would want to be far, far away, maybe in some other part of this galaxy. Who knows? But I did want to show all of you guys this newest updated photograph. To me, I think this is totally awesome. I mean, this makes researching this subject, investigating this subject, getting clarity like this makes it all worth it. I think it is a spectacular photograph. I'm going to share these photographs on the Planet X News Facebook page and the group page, and you guys can check it out. Pretty cool. While I'm here real quick, I'm going to, I wanted to try also not to get into these 2.5 hour live streams. I say that every single time I come on here, and by the time I'm done flapping my gums, an hour and 45 minutes, 2 hours, and whatever. There's always so much to say and not enough time. But I'm heading up on the 51-minute mark right now. If anybody has any questions, I see this one guy here, Johnny Blaze, asking about 81 million people quarantined. I mean, I don't know. I know that they've quarantined as far as the cities in China. We know that there are a lot of Chinese people. So yeah, quarantining 81 million people wouldn't be that hard. I heard they are shutting down cities. I did hear this morning that they shut down like the entire transportation system to stop people from running around and, getting on trains and subways and buses and planes. I hope that they are able to get this under control as fast as possible. But with the ease of movement around our planet nowadays, you can see that this can really, really get out of hand, and this can turn into a pandemic. And a pandemic is when you have a situation like this making its way around the globe. And to be honest with you folks, I think that we're already at that stage. I think we're at the stage of a pandemic. Yeah. Yeah, Kelly Moore, you're correct. The more viruses that come in, yeah, these damn things mutate, and they attach themselves to bacteria as a host. They're wicked little things, and but they must have a host, and all of the stories about people eating all of these nasty things that we normally wouldn't even think about eating, like bats and live mice and snakes. And hey, look, people around the world, they eat their own things, but bats are known to carry a lot of germs and bacteria and rabies. What the hell are these people thinking? I just don't know, man. I don't know. I saw What happened here? Did my stream cut off? Oh, no, it looks like I thought it cut off for a second there. But I don't know. You would never catch me eating bat soup. And I don't know. The guy eating the live mice, dipping them in some soy sauce or whatever. Yeah, I don't think so. Folks, it looks like having some problems with the internet. I don't know if you guys can hear me or not. But I'm going to cut out of here now. Check out these articles. It looks like, I don't know if you guys see this live stream maybe buffering. But I'm going to jump out of here right now. Check out those articles on the Planet X News website. And I'll leave a link for them in the comment section under this video and also in the description box. Do-do-do-do.